Hi everyone, I'm David Aragona, and this is the 2020 TimeformUS Road to the Kentucky Derby Series. In this video, I'll be handicapping the San Felipe Stakes on Saturday at Santa Anita, but I also handicapped the two other Derby preps that are being run this weekend, the Gotham and the Tampa Bay Derby, in two other videos that you can check out on DRF.com or DRF's YouTube channel. The focus, though, here is that Santa Anita Derby prep, the San Felipe Stakes, a Grade 2 event going a mile and a 16th. And let's check out the field for this race. The smallest field of the weekend among these three Derby preps, with just 7 going to post, but there's quite a bit of quality drawn towards the center of this field. The number 4 Authentic is the 6-5 favorite on the morning line. Bob Baffert actually has the two shortest prices, as the number 5,000 Words, also a short price at 9-5. Both of these horses are undefeated for Bob Baffert. They figure to take a lot of money. They're both very talented, but they're going to face some challenges from a couple of other horses who are going to generate a lot of interest in this race, those being the number 2 Honor A.P. and the number 6 Storm the Court, who was, of course, last year's Eclipse Award-winning 2-year-old champion. Let's take a look at the TimeformUS pace projector before we talk about those 4 main contenders. And you might find it somewhat surprising that the number 2 Honor A.P. is depicted on the lead in this pace projector. He is a horse that garnered a lot of attention for his debut last summer at Del Mar, when he closed from far back to be second, although he did show a lot more speed in his second start when he won going gate to wire at Santa Anita. And that's the reason that he's shown on the lead in this pace projector, coupled with the fact that a couple of other horses in this race, particularly the number 4 Authentic and the number 5,000 Words, are coming out of races that haven't featured the fastest early paces, particularly Authentic, who's received some pretty soft pace setups in his races. So that's why Honor A.P. is shown on the lead. Honor A.P., though, if you look in the TimeformUS PPs, is shown as having a mid-pack running style, so it is perhaps unlikely that he's on the lead in this race. I think it's more likely that the number 4 Authentic goes out to set the early pace. We'll see how fast they go on the front end. The pace projector is predicting a fast pace. I'm not sure that I quite would believe in that, because I don't think these Bob Baffert horses are going to go after each other on the lead here, and if Honor A.P. is ridden a bit more conservatively, I think we could have a more moderate pace, though I don't think that Authentic is going to be able to walk on the lead like he did last time out in the Sham. Let's talk about those two Bob Baffert runners, and we'll actually begin with the bigger price in the morning line, the number 5,000 Words, who is 3 for 3 in his career. 1,000 Words, he's just been really good right from the start. All 3 of his TimeformUS speed figures make him a major player in this race. He debuted with a 113, repeated that number when he won the Los Alamitos Futurity, gutting out the victory over Anno D'Or. And let's take a look at his last race when he won the Grade 3 Robert B. Lewis, again in workmanlike fashion, gutting out the victory over Royal Act and his stablemate High Velocity. Now, 1,000 Words got an absolutely perfect trip in this race. He was sitting in the pocket, stalking the pace. They were going an honest clip up front. He angled out at the top of the stretch, appeared like he was just going to roll past these horses and win by a length or two. He ended up having to work pretty hard to get by these horses in the lane. Only won by 3/4 of a length, with just a photo across the line for second. Though 1,000 Words, he's not the kind of horse that's ever going to win by a large margin. He just grinds out these victories. He likes to have some competition. If you watched his morning workouts, he's not the kind of horse that's going to draw away from his working mates in the morning. He likes to run alongside another horse, have some competition alongside of him. That 116 TimeformUS speed figure that he earned last time out in the Robert B. Lewis, though, that's a serious number. That makes him the horse to beat in this race. I'm not going to get down on him just because he hasn't been that visually impressive. I think he's the most trustworthy horse in this race, and in my opinion, he's the horse to beat, because I don't totally trust his stablemate Authentic, who is probably going to take a lot of money in this race. This is a horse who is highly touted based on his impressive victory last time out, also based on his recent workouts, because he's apparently a bit of a morning glory, though he did back it up in the afternoon in that Sham Stakes last time. Let's take a look at his victory in that Sham. He was sent off as the 6-5 favorite in this race, despite only winning his debut by a length and a half, going 5.5 furlongs. He stretched out the 2.5 furlongs to get the mile in this race, and he got a pretty soft pace setup in doing it. He didn't have to go that fast on the front end. They turned into the stretch, and he draws off in this race, but you saw it. He is just all over the racetrack, ducking in, ducking out. Drayton Van Dyke is trying to ask him for a little more run, but he's just reacting badly to the whip, reacting badly to the reins being shaken at him. Just not a horse who's got his mind on business through the lane, and it didn't matter on this occasion because he wasn't facing any serious competition. I know some horses have come back to run okay. Azul Coast, the runner-up, came back and won the El Camino Real Derby, but that was not a very strong race, and he didn't really improve his speed figure in doing so. And some other horses have come back and run okay, basically repeating their speed figures. But Authentic, he only earned a 107 TimeformUS speed figure in that race. That's significantly lower than his stablemate 1,000 Words has run in all of his career career starts to date. So I think Authentic is going to have to improve to beat this San Felipe field. I think he's going to have to be much more professional in doing so, and he might have to face some more pace competition up front. So I respect Authentic's talent. I just don't think he's going to offer any value in this race, so I personally want to look elsewhere. The number 2 Honor A.P. is a horse that I think a lot of people will be interested in this race because he's just this really likable horse. He's the son of Honor Code, looks a lot like Honor Code with even more white markings on him. We'll take a look at him breaking his maiden last time at Santa Anita. Now, this victory came all the way back last October, about 5 months ago at this point, but he was pretty impressive this day, leading throughout. I mentioned at the top of this episode that he came from far back when he was second in his debut at Del Mar, but I think it's encouraging that he completely changed his running style around second time out because you want to see these horses start to show a bit more tactical speed. I don't think he's some need the lead type of runner, and I don't think he's going to be on the lead in this race, but I think he'll be perfectly comfortable stalking the pace behind a horse like Authentic. Honor A.P. just strikes me as the kind of horse that's not going to have any trouble with distance. His damn Hollywood story, she wanted to run all day. Honor Code seems to be able to get horses who can go longer distances, so I like Honor A.P. stretching out. It's just the layoff. John Sheriff's, his trainer, does well with horses coming off layoffs, but he's just going to have to be ready to run his A race off this break, so I'll use him, but I don't want to take too short of a price on a horse like this who has to deal with some adversity. My top pick in this race is going to be the number 6, Storm the Court. I just think Storm the Court is likely to offer the best value, and he might get somewhat ignored in this race. I don't think he really deserves to be, because let's keep in mind, when he returned last time in that San Vicente, that was just a prep race for him to go longer, and he's getting to stretch out and go more of his preferred distance in this San Felipe. And it's not like he even ran that badly last time in the San Vicente, because Nadal, he's obviously turned into one of the top Derby prospects, that undefeated horse for Bob Baffert, and Ginobili, who was second there, really stepped up. He's just a pure sprinter, and that was a sprint race. Storm the Court was hard-ridden that day throughout to keep up with a very fast pace, and he stayed on pretty well through the lane to be fourth, was gaining some ground on the leaders at the end of that race, still earned a 112 TimeformUS speed figure, and if you go back to the end of his 2-year-old season, he of course won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. We'll take a look at that race. He earned a 114 TimeformUS speed figure on this occasion, fending off Anno Dor, who was in very good form at the time. I thought he was really game to get the victory. Went the mile and 16th over this same track that he's going to be competing at on Saturday. And I just think Storm the Court has a right to take a big step forward and get back to this kind of effort, and that's going to make him really competitive against horses like 1,000 Words and Authentic, and he's going to work out a pretty decent stalking trip here. So if Storm the Court is anywhere around that 5-1 morning line, I think he's going to offer the best value in this race. So I'm going to take a shot with him on top. I'll use 1,000 Words primarily underneath, a little Honor A.P., and I'm going to try to beat Bob Everett's other horse, Authentic. I just think he's the one that you want to take a shot against here to create some value in the exotic wagers. So Storm the Court's my pick in the San Felipe on Saturday at Santa Anita.